Welcome to Pete's world of poisonous plants. Remember, whether you're in your garden or out in the wild, don't touch anything unless you're absolutely sure what it is. If you've ever brushed past this innocent-looking green, you'll know it bites back. This is Urtica dioica, the stinging nettle, a plant that can feed you, clothe you, heal you, and at the same time make your skin feel like it's on fire. It's a perfect example of nature's double-edged sword. The stinging nettle grows in patches across Europe, Asia, North America, and beyond. Tall, upright stems can reach well over a meter, topped with dark green, serrated leaves arranged in opposite pairs. In summer, you'll see long, dangling strings of tiny green flowers, which don't look like much. But that's because the true weaponry lies not in the flowers, but in the hairs that cover every inch of leaf and stem. These hairs are called trichomes, and they're not just harmless fuzz. Each one is a hollow, glass-like tube with a sharp, brittle tip made of silica. Think of them as nature's hypodermic needles. When your skin brushes against them, the tip snaps off like the top of an ampoule. The sharp edge pierces your skin, and the hollow hair injects its payload. That payload is a chemical cocktail: histamine, which causes itching and redness; acetylcholine, which stimulates nerve endings; serotonin, which adds to the pain response; and formic acid, which contributes to the burning sensation. In other words, your skin becomes a living chemistry experiment, and the result is a stinging rash and those famous raised welts. Now, what can you do about it? First aid is fairly simple. Remove any remaining hairs with sticky tape or the edge of a credit card. Rinse the skin with cool water, and if it's really bothering you, apply an antihistamine cream or take an antihistamine tablet. Some people swear by the old folk cure of rubbing dock leaves on the sting. The truth is, dock leaves don't contain any magical antidote. At best, the moist sap cools the skin, and the rubbing distracts your nerves. It's a placebo with attitude. Here's where the story gets even more interesting. The Romans, stationed in cold and rainy Britannia, reportedly used nettles for something called urtication. That's a polite word for flogging themselves with nettles. Why? Because the violent stinging brought blood rushing to the skin, creating a feeling of warmth in the damp British climate. Imagine a legionnaire standing shivering in the mist, whipping his legs with nettles to keep the circulation going. Central heating hadn't been invented yet, and needs must. In folklore, nettles have been considered protective and purifying. People would hang bunches of nettles outside their homes to ward off evil spirits, or throw them on a fire to drive away ghosts. In some traditions, nettles were used in rituals to break curses or strengthen the body. And for all their sting, they've been surprisingly generous to humans. The stems yield strong fibers, which for centuries were spun into ropes and woven into cloth. In fact, in parts of Europe, nettle cloth was once as common as linen. During the First World War, Germany even made military uniforms out of nettle fibers when cotton supplies ran low. Then there's the kitchen. Cooked nettles lose their sting completely, as heat destroys the hairs and neutralizes the chemicals. Once blanched or boiled, they taste like a rich, earthy spinach. Nettle soup is a classic spring dish, and nettles can be made into teas, pestos, and even beer. It's a plant that punishes you if you handle it wrong, but rewards you richly if you respect it. Medicinally, nettles have been used for centuries. Herbalists have recommended nettle leaf for allergies such as hay fever, arthritis, and skin conditions. Modern studies suggest that nettle extracts may have anti-inflammatory properties. The root has been studied for use in men's health, particularly for urinary problems linked to an enlarged prostate. That said, the scientific evidence is still mixed, and anyone thinking of using nettle medicine should speak to a professional, especially if you're already on medication. Nettles can interact with blood thinners, blood pressure drugs, and diuretics. Just because something grows in a hedgerow doesn't mean it's harmless. Ecologically, nettles are a powerhouse. They thrive in nitrogen-rich soils, which is why you often find them near old farmyards, compost heaps, or places where animals once grazed. They're essential food plants for several butterfly species, including the red admiral and the small tortoiseshell. In short, a nettle patch isn't just a menace, it's a buzzing, fluttering wildlife buffet. But beware of confusion. Dead nettles, part of the mint family, look similar at first glance but don't sting. They're easily spotted when they bloom, with purple or white flowers that give them away. Touch them, and you'll find they're harmless. It's a reminder that in nature looks can be deceiving, and a sting is sometimes the only way you know the difference. If you're foraging, always wear gloves and long sleeves. Cut the young tops above knee height to avoid contamination from animals. And remember, once cooked, nettles are safe. But if you get complacent, the plant will happily remind you who's boss. Take one last close look at those trichomes, the stinging hairs. They form a tiny forest of single-use syringes, each one primed and waiting. They're a brilliant defense mechanism honed by evolution to keep grazing animals at bay. Touch, snap, inject, regret. So the nettle is a plant of paradoxes. It stings and it soothes. It hurts and it heals. It's woven into our history, our folklore, our kitchens, and our medicine cabinets. Respect the green and it will feed and clothe you. Grab it wrong, and it will write its message on your skin in burning letters. Enter at your own risk, and for heaven's sake, wear gloves. And before you go, please remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss more tales from Pete's world of poisonous plants.